everyone, my name is Eric Hopkins, aka Joe. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den. I'm sorry for being a few days late for the WWE recap this week. Been kind of busy in certain respects in my life here, but my AEW recap will probably also be a day late. It'll probably be coming out on Friday morning this week, so bear with me on that. But without further ado, let's get into the WWE recap this week. Obviously, SmackDown started off with Tiffany Stratton. She come out to celebrate winning Money in the Bank, but she only got a few sentences out before she was interrupted by Bayley in the ring. They traded some verbal insults between each other before Nia Jax joined them and promised to win the title at SummerSlam because Nia Jax has the women's championship opportunity from winning Queen of the Ring. So she will be going to SummerSlam to face the champion that is currently Bayley. Predictably, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton attacked Bayley, but were quickly driven off by Meechin, who was wielding a kendo stick. This led right into the first match of the night after they returned from a commercial break with Mia Yim, or Meechin as they're calling her now, against Nia Jax, with Nia Jax easily defeating Meechin in that regard. But it wasn't completely one-sided for sure. It was pretty dominant performance from the Queen of the Ring, though, as Meechin would make a small comeback every couple of minutes, but Jax would put her back on defense almost immediately every single time. But Nia Jax won with an annihilator, but Bayley saved Mia Yim, or Meechin, from suffering a second attack. Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton beat the champion down, but it was Miss Money in the Bank who toyed with the idea of cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase until Nia Jax gave her a mean look to kind of distract her from actually cashing it in. Tiffany Stratton thought better of it, tried to hide it from the number one contender there. And of course, as the segment ended here, Nia Jax walked off and Tiffany Stratton was trying to talk to her. But yeah, definitely teasing the Money in the Bank aspect of the whole thing here for sure. But obviously, Nia Jax wants that opportunity against Bayley. She wasn't too fond of the fact that Tiffany Stratton tried to cash it in. And that also has to get Nia Jax thinking too. But what if Nia Jax wins the title against Bayley and then Tiffany Stratton's just waiting in the wings? It's got to bug Nia just a little bit. I still believe that Bayley's going to be the champion following SummerSlam and probably for the extended period here. And Tiffany Stratton will probably be holding that briefcase for a longer period of time than just about a month or so. But yeah, I thought this did a pretty decent job of setting up the upcoming SummerSlam match, as well as the intrigue of the Money in the Bank briefcase being held by Stratton. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm looking forward to see what they do at SummerSlam with it. One of the more important things on SmackDown this week was LA Knight came out and he revealed that Nick Aldis, the SmackDown general manager, had given him a title shot for the United States Championship against Logan Paul at SummerSlam. It just needs to be signed by Logan Paul to make it official. This is one of the best promos I've ever seen LA Knight cut in a WWE ring. He's really got that Stone Cold Steve Austin cadence about him when he gives his promos, and I think the crowd has really respected him for that. He's a big cross between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin when it comes to his style of the way he presents himself in the ring and on the microphone. And I think it's really working well for him here, no doubt about it. Obviously, with the vest, he's still got radiating that Stone Cold Steve Austin image for sure. He's definitely got that rebel attitude and never say quit attitude and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's playing off very well for LA Knight, and I think that this is his moment finally at SummerSlam. This is where you pull the trigger. I understand that you put the United States Championship on LA Knight to kind of give him some notoriety, as well as to elevate the United States champion, because obviously Logan Paul is very popular in the world of YouTube and podcasting and things like that. So that makes a lot of sense why you would do that. But in order for LA Knight to take that next step forward in his progression and his push, he needs that United States championship more than Logan Paul does at this point. And I think SummerSlam is where we finally anoint LA Knight. I thought this match was going to take place at WrestleMania. That was not the plan, but I think SummerSlam is the exact right moment. And I think they pulled the trigger here and they give the United States championship to LA Knight, as they should. And I think it's going to be great things for all those involved. In professional wrestling, timing is everything. And as much as I wanted to see this at like WrestleMania this year, I think by waiting a little bit longer, they did a service for LA Knight. So I was wrong on that regard. I'll flat out openly admit that, or at least that's what I think. I think if they don't do it now at SummerSlam, though, they're making a mistake. So I think now is the appropriate time. It just feels right now. The crowd is behind LA Knight just enough here, and I think it's time to actually make this move. And I think WWE will, and they'll do the right thing here. Triple H is doing a great job with this professional wrestling booking with the main roster shows, and I can't wait to see what they do with LA Knight with the United States Championship as well. It should be a lot of fun and to continue his rise up the ranks here. I know he's a little bit older of a superstar, but he's got a lot of talent, and I can't wait to see him actually take that next step even after this, a little bit down the line here, and become a more world championship contender. I know he's had a couple world championship matches and things like that as of late, especially when it came to like Roman Reigns and stuff. But at the same time, I think him doing off on this, getting this title opportunity would be great for his career in the long run. We had a match earlier in the night with Naomi versus Blair Davenport, where Naomi picked up the win. Of course, after that match was over in the backstage area, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair was meeting up with their friend Naomi, and of course, Blair Davenport kind of come up with extended her hand in friendship to Naomi, kind of insinuated, "Hey, you beat me. The better woman won. I congratulate you." But of course, as soon as Naomi turned her back, Blair Davenport attacked Naomi from behind. So we're going to get more of this feud moving forward here from the sounds of things. Sounds like they're trying to get Blair Davenport over here with the new crowd and the new audiences getting used to her. So I think that'll be a good thing as well. But yeah, this could be intriguing. I have no doubt about it. I like that WWE is finally doing what AEW's been doing a little bit here, where if you don't have a championship on the line, they're still going to be telling some women's storylines, which is something that's really good. You don't always have to have a championship on the line in order to tell good storytelling in professional wrestling. And for a long time, I don't think Vince McMahon really followed that line of thinking. So I was really excited to see this in WWE and AEW. I think they're on the right track doing that with the ladies moving forward. We got the SmackDown Tag Team Championships rematch clause being cashed in here by A-Town Down Under. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were looking to regain the tag titles when they took on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in a rematch from last week's SmackDown, where DIY won the championships from A-Town Down Under. Ciampa chased Waller around the ring and back in before all four men got into a brawl. Which of course we returned from the break to see Johnny Wrestling get the hot tag and go on a rampage. Both teams had several close calls, but a couple of miscommunications between Grayson Waller and Austin Theory led to them losing once again. Something that's been happening with this tag team for many weeks here, and that's what caused their downfall. So it sounds like we may be getting a one-on-one match with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Maybe one of them going babyface at some point to kind of further their singles runs. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't know if it'll be at SummerSlam. It may be something that happens on television. I thought this was a good bout, all things considered, for sure. But however, this was done with the post-match segment in mind, as Jacob Fatu came out and decimated everyone besides Grayson Waller, who made a quick escape with his partner was taken out. So it sounds like, if nothing else, it sounds like Austin Theory will be becoming the babyface here, with Grayson Waller leaving his tag team partner high and dry to be obliterated by Jacob Fatu. And that, of course, means everything on SmackDown has pretty much been centered around the new Bloodline, as it should be, of course, with Cody Rhodes and the WWE Championship as well. But obviously, we with Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank picking up a pinfall victory over Cody Rhodes, it sounds like he's going to be challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. I love this backstage segment stuff that they're doing with Solo Sikoa. It makes him actually look more like a tribal chief and puts off that aura of the tribal chief. So I really like what they're doing there to kind of establish him as the main leader of the bloodline now in Roman Reigns' absence for sure. It looks like he's taking over for Roman Reigns for sure. Of course, they come out here to, basically discuss things that's been going on lately. And the rest of the bloodline joined Fatu in the ring for this final segment, as Solo Sikoa spoke about getting rid of everyone in the bloodline who refused to acknowledge him. Cody Rhodes came out and said he is more than willing to defend the title against Solo at SummerSlam, so making this official. The Bloodline then surrounded him, but Cody Rhodes took the first shot, and Randy Orton ran down to help the American Nightmare. He did a lot of damage before he was taken down too, though. The Bloodline spent several minutes destroying Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton here, and Solo forced Rhodes to watch the Viper take a triple power bomb through the announce table before they posed to end the show on SmackDown this last week. I thought it was a great ending segment for sure, just furthering the main event WWE Championship match at SummerSlam, which is going to be good in my opinion. And all this is going to come to a head for sure. It's interesting to me that Randy Orton is being a good babyface friend to Cody Rhodes. Obviously, they go way back in their days of legacy with Ted DiBiase Jr. as well, for those of you who remember that old faction. So they've got a long-standing friendship for sure, but I feel like it may be setting up a day where maybe Randy Orton could potentially go heel and turn on his friend Cody Rhodes at some point. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, because Cody's going to need some title contenders going into the winter as well, heading into the Royal Rumble, which is where I think he could end up you know facing, like, I don't know, The Rock. Maybe that's what ends up happening there. The Bloodline stuff, I think, will be taking another route going into the fall and the winter, and that'll be, of course, where I think it'll be the returning Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns is going to be making an appearance during this WWE Championship match that is now official at SummerSlam. We're going to be getting the return of the Tribal Chief, in my opinion. I have no inside information on that or anything like that, but to me, it just feels like the right time for Roman Reigns to make his return at SummerSlam, or a little shortly after. But I feel like this will be a perfect opportunity for Roman Reigns to return, cost Solo Sikoa the WWE Championship match, setting up the what's going into the fall here and going into Survivor Series at War Games, where you're going to get two factions of the Bloodline feuding against one another. Where I hope Roman Reigns will be, kind of bringing together the old Bloodline with the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, whenever Jimmy comes back from injury, as well as Sami Zayn would be really cool. Maybe he drops the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam to somebody like whether that be Ilya Dragunov or Braun Breaker. We'll get into that just a little bit on the Monday Night Raw portion of this. But yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense for the old Bloodline against the new Bloodline on Survivor Series of War Games. And I think the potential for that storyline to start and slowly build moving forward will be at SummerSlam with Roman Reigns making his return. But that's just my opinion. We'll see if that ends up taking place. I think that'd be a great way to do it. And again, further the overall storyline and plans that they got moving into this fall, the winter, as well as into the Rumble and WrestleMania next year. So thumbs up all the way around for continuing this. It sounds like they got a plan and a direction, and they've got this very well planned out. As long as everybody can stay injury free, I think it's going to be a great thing to pay off come WrestleMania 41. As for Monday Night Raw, Mommy was back. Of course, she returned last week on Monday Night Raw, and things became interesting for the Women's World Champion Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio, and the rest of the Judgment Day on Monday night this week. Rhea Ripley kicked off the night's show by making her way to the squared circle amid an enormous pop, and almost immediately found herself interrupted by Dominik Mysterio, who, like a sick puppy dog, comes crawling back after making the mistake of a lifetime here and going against Mommy and messing around with Liv Morgan. I loved this part here, though. It was an homage for those of you who remember, some 25 years ago when Eddie Guerrero and China used to have a relationship going on, and he used to call her his mamacita. So, and not only that, not only did Dominik Mysterio call Rhea Ripley Mamacita when he got into the ring for this promo, he also brought down the flower. It was a black flower for Rhea Ripley, but this obviously was a major callback for when Eddie Guerrero did the exact same thing for China. So I loved this callback as a fan who grew up with this sort of stuff and was watching this back in the day when Eddie Guerrero did this. I loved all this. As, of course, Dominik Mysterio is definitely channeling Eddie Guerrero with his look and everything to that effect, with the mustache and the mullet, the whole 9 yards here, even wearing, shirts that say, Eddie's my poppy or whatever. It's just some great stuff that he's doing in homage to his family's, really good friend here in Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio's brother in so many respects. So I really like what they're doing here and bringing all that together in full swing. Obviously, of course, all of this was interrupted by Liv Morgan doing her best to taunt Rhea Ripley. Morgan was further infuriating Rhea Ripley here by leading to Ripley issuing a challenge for a match at SummerSlam because she was aggravated with everything Liv Morgan was saying here. This was a great promo by Liv Morgan as well on the video screen from the back because she was too cowardly, so to speak, to come out there and confront Rhea Ripley face to face. Liv Morgan surprisingly accepted the challenge, admitting she wasn't going to run from Rhea Ripley. So interesting to see something like that happen in this sort of situation. So she's owning up to this, and she wants to fight Rhea Ripley. So this is going to be a great match at SummerSlam, in my opinion. The segment ended with Ripley vowing to end Morgan's career before thwarting any attempt by Dominik Mysterio to smooth things over. So that was kind of an overall theme throughout the most of the show, with Dominik trying to apologize and Rhea was having none of it. This was a great start to the show, in my opinion, that really highlighted the top storyline on Monday nights, and it put Rhea front and center and continued to build tension between Rhea Ripley and her Dom here, as questions about their relationship ran wild throughout the show here. So yeah, definitely thumbs up for me. Really like the opening for this Monday Night Raw. We had a matchup between Sheamus and Bronson Reed. Obviously, they're trying to tell this story with Pete Dunne not really caring for Sheamus anymore after the whole Brawling Brute situation. Obviously, his tag team partner, Tyler Bates, is injured, and it sounds like he's going to be out for a long time due to that injury. So WWE wanted his tag team partner, Pete Dunne, on television, so they introduced this feud with Sheamus and Pete Dunne. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. We wish Tyler Bate well and hope he'll come back soon. But yeah, I mean, this was a hard-hitting war between the Celtic Warrior and Bronson Reed here, concluded with Sheamus blasting Reed with a knee strike for the pinfall victory. But it did not end there, though. After the match, Pete Dunne, like I said, launched himself from out of nowhere to thwart a Bronson Reed attack. So Pete Dunne attacked Bronson Reed to stop him from attacking Sheamus. He saved Sheamus here. But following a brief tense encounter between Pete Dunne and Sheamus, as Pete Dunne was trying to leave there, the Bruiserweight then returned and attacked Sheamus from behind. So this was kind of weird to me. Why would Pete Dunne save Sheamus from an attack by Bronson Reed, then attack Sheamus, and then allow Bronson Reed to give him the big splash off the top rope to end the segment? So that was a little weird to me. I don't know why you would just change on a dime like that. Maybe they'll explain it in storyline a little bit more here going down the line. We'll have to wait and see, but that was just a little weird to me. Like Pete Dunne just saved Sheamus and then just let him get attacked. It was like, that didn't make much sense to me. So that kind of booking, I was like, but I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt here, especially under the new Triple H creative. We'll see what they do with it going forward. But I liked a little bit more of an explanation of why they did that for sure. But yeah, definitely it's going to be a good feud, I think, between Sheamus and Pete Dunne. They can have one hell of a banger, to quote Sheamus, no doubt about it, whenever that match does take place. And it sounds like it could be on a collision course at SummerSlam as well. We had a matchup between Zelina Vega and Sonya Deville, having her first singles matchup since her return here for sure. Backstage confrontation earlier in the show between Zelina Vega and Sonya Deville set up this match, and a short-lived contest saw Deville overwhelm Zelina Vega and score the win with her new finisher, Deville's Advocate. After the match, the victor and her new associates, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, teased a beatdown before Caden Carter and Katana Chance made the save, kicking off another random trios feud involving the former tag team champions here, along with Lyra Valkyria as well. This was an unnecessary squash, really, for Zelina Vega, but it was undoubtedly the most overperformer in this ordeal. Beating her felt kind of counterproductive a little bit when literally anyone else could have been put in that position. But we'll see where they take this for sure. But it definitely led to a trios women's match later on. But at the same time, they're definitely building up Deville's new faction for sure as being a threat to be reckoned with here on Monday nights. Alongside the Dominik Mysterio and Rhea Ripley stuff that's going on, what I've been noticing a lot lately, which we've been talking about here on the channel a little bit too, Brandon on the Dragon's Den podcast has also mentioned this as well, is that the idea is to put Damian Priest as a babyface moving forward and break him away from the Judgment Day. When that break actually ends up happening, we're not sure. It could happen at SummerSlam. I actually think there's a possibility at SummerSlam with Damian Priest facing Gunther that Damian Priest may lose the World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther, as many expect, but it won't be because he loses straight up. It'll be because maybe Finn Balor costs him the World Heavyweight Championship and then becomes the new leader of the Judgment Day, which could be absolutely great for Finn Balor's career, no doubt about it, who just recently re-signed with the company, if all the reports are to be believed. But the stuff that they've been doing with Damian Priest in the back, especially in regards to Dominik Mysterio, and just kind of having these sly grins, and he's definitely playing more of a babyface character. And in my opinion, it's doing a great job of evolving the Damian Priest character to that next level. I've been kind of critical here on the channel of Damian Priest in his world title run, not being as well as I thought maybe it could be. Like he's not quite to that level just yet, but playing the heel may be part of the reason why. And now that they're starting to evolve him into this babyface, he just seems to have a better personality for that role. Teasing Dominik Mysterio and all the stuff that he's been doing with the comedy in the back and things like that, just kind of chuckling and knowing and being a smart person, knowing what's going on with his faction, despite the fact he's not always in the room with them. It just shows he watches the show and keeps up with what's actually happening. They're not playing him off as a stupid baby face for sure. So I really like that. He's obviously been doing all this stuff where he wants to win things without any help. So I think this evolution of the Damian Priest character is only going to benefit him moving forward, especially moving into the SummerSlam main event, one of the main events against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship here, as they had a face-to-face confrontation on Monday Night Raw between the King of the Ring, or the King General, as they've been putting it here. They definitely introduced the idea of the Ring General as the privileged competitor, while painting the Archer of Infamy as someone who fought from the streets to top of professional wrestling here for sure. They even Gunther at one point called him street trash during this, so he's officially a babyface now. Damian Priest is. So yeah, they're definitely playing him as the babyface in this feud. And like I said, the breakaway from the Judgment Day is inevitable at this point. But I think that doesn't mean the Judgment Day is going to break up. They've got enough members. Finn Balor can be the leader. You've got you got JD McDonough, and you got Carlito, and you've obviously got Rhea Ripley, and Dominik Mysterio still there for the time being. I still have my theories that he may break away and go off with Liv Morgan as well, which could also happen at SummerSlam, kind of becoming that thing where he's the guy in the middle between the two ladies, and maybe he costs Rhea Ripley the world or the women's world championship. So we'll have to see if that happens too. But that's kind of where I think they're going to take it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match as well. SummerSlam is shaping up to be a very good card. WWE's doing a much better job with SummerSlam, especially. I mean, their pay-per-views have been pretty decent as of late, but I've been kind of noticing they've only had like 5 matches per show, which is not overkill. But at the same time, I'd like to see a little bit more. And for something like SummerSlam, I'm sure they're going to put their best foot forward and have a lot more matches instead of just 5 on the show. Probably more like 8 or something like that, 7 or 8. So I can see that being a thing that they do for that big show for sure, especially since it's going to be becoming a 2-night event starting in 2025. So interesting to see what they do with all these storylines. I think they're doing a great job of the build for the next summer extravaganza that they do every single year. Following the Damian Priest and Gunther promo, we had a singles match between Braun Strowman and Damian Priest. A decent matchup between these two guys, I thought, all things considered here. I don't know if Braun Strowman got hurt by the end of this match. He did his whole, running around the ring train gimmick that he likes to do to try to run over Damian Priest. And of course, Damian Priest dodged it, and he ended up looked like he whacked his knee on the barricade, and then he kind of went over the barricade and fell down and kind of screamed in pain, and he grabbed his knee. So I don't know if he had an actual injury. He finished the match, but it looked like he was wincing in a lot of pain and had a hard time moving around on his knee after that. I noticed that after the match was over, Damian Priest obviously gets the pinfall here with the South of Heaven choke slam for sure. But after the match was over and Damian Priest was celebrating, the camera did a good job of staying above Braun Strowman and only showing Damian Priest on camera. That's usually an indicator that the wrestler actually got injured. So because if he wasn't injured, they'd show the wrestler selling. In this case, they didn't show Strowman selling, so he very well could have a actual knee injury here. So if he does, best wishes out to Braun Strowman for sure, and hopefully he'll be able to come back from that at some point. But yeah, I kind of got this feeling it was real. I haven't heard any definitive news on that. If you have, by all means, comment below, let me know for sure. I'd like to get some more information on that. I may have to look that up later on. But yeah, good big win here for Damian Priest, kind of ending that semi feud they had going on ever since Braun Strowman come back. But at the same time, with Damian Priest going off to be a babyface now, it just makes more sense to kind of drop this feud and move forward. So maybe they didn't plan that out the greatest in the world, but at least they had a little bit of a payoff here for that. So that's for sure. We had a segment where Adam Pearce said that he was willing to lift the suspension for Drew McIntyre on Monday Night Raw if Drew McIntyre was just willing to apologize for hurting two WWE referees. Instead, Drew McIntyre refused, and the suspension remains intact. And infuriated Drew McIntyre shoved the same two referees down and then threatened Adam Pearce before Seth freaking Rollins made the save, clearing McIntyre out of the ring and standing tall before joining the commentary team for a little post-save celebration. But yeah, I mean, this was a fun segment in my opinion. I thought that really made Drew McIntyre look like that crazy guy that obviously just wants nothing but to get rid of CM Punk. And of course, Seth Rollins has now got his issues with Drew McIntyre as well that are stemming over from WrestleMania 40 is on top of everything. And of course, with CM Punk costing Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank as well, there's this whole dynamic here between these three guys. This could end up being a triple threat match, although I think that we might get the one-on-one match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, assuming CM Punk can get cleared. Hopefully that is going to be the case, but if that can't happen, we very well could see Seth Rollins added to this to maybe kind of take a little bit of the burden off of CM Punk's shoulders coming off an injury. We'll have to wait and see, or we can maybe just get Seth Rollins kind of watching. It'd be kind of hard for me to not see Seth Rollins in a match at SummerSlam, but if the overall story calls for it, it would make a lot of sense maybe for Seth Rollins just kind of be there on commentary, much like CM Punk was at WrestleMania. And it's the same sort of instance, and maybe Seth Rollins can cost Punk the match against Drew McIntyre. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of storytelling elements you could do there, but at the same time, there's a lot of moving parts as well, which is what makes wrestling great when you got so many things that could potentially happen and make it unpredictable. And I'm loving that WWE's back to doing that. So thank goodness for all that, and I can't wait to see what they do at SummerSlam. But this is on the right track, just like everything else is on the show. We had another VHS tape that was delivered, kind of displaying a new member of the Wyatt Six this week. And that is, of course, the big man, Eric Rowan. He expressed raw emotion as he discussed the loss of brothers Brody Lee and Bray Wyatt. So, yeah, you got to remember, this man was a member of the original Wyatt family with Luke Harper, as he was known as in WWE, and Bray Wyatt. So yeah, he didn't name either guy in this promo here, but we all knew who he was talking about here if you follow pro wrestling, and it was definitely something you could see the emotion on his face. He was just you could tell that this means a lot to him, but at the same time, this man's been through a lot. I mean, you don't lose two really good friends like this very often, and this guy had to unfortunately go through that with that. And it's just you could just see the pain on his face, and it just really made this promo really pop off the screen, and they did a great job with it. And I'm sure he wanted to it was probably therapeutic for him as well to just kind of get those emotions out for sure. But I really feel for Eric Rowan, and in real life, I want to just say my thoughts and prayers are with him and anybody who was touched by Brody Lee as well as Bray Wyatt and all those involved. Obviously, there's so many people who were affected by those two men's unfortunate passings. But yeah, in regards to this video package, though, Eric Rowan promised that the Wyatt Six would use their broken hearts to create beautiful art. So again, it sounds like as much as I kind of criticized last week a little bit how I would like to see a little bit more besides just video packages. Now that we're getting video packages with different characters in the Wyatt Six and not just with Bo Dallas's and Uncle Howdy, we're kind of getting explanations for why these other characters are the way they are, and the characters that they are portrayed here will probably get Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy, as well as potentially Nikki Cross as Abigail or whoever she's portrayed here for sure. So we could definitely get some more background into why these members are now a part of this group. And if that's the case, I actually really like this. And of course, the stuff they're doing with Chad Gable, that's we're going to get into in just a moment, is also intriguing as well, which could pay off at SummerSlam too. So another good segment here to kind of continue this Wyatt Six storyline. And I'm definitely intrigued where they go with this, and I'm loving where they're taking it so far. Earlier in the night, Jey Uso asked if Rhea Ripley was single now because he wanted to shoot his shot with her. Instead, he incurred the wrath of Dominik Mysterio, who got this match made here. Dom was as focused and as intent as ever. I thought this was a good match between these two, looking to send a clear message to Rhea Ripley, saying that he wants her back here. As Jey Uso fought back and rolled late, he scaled the ropes for the Uso splash, only for Liv Morgan to appear and pull Dominik Mysterio out of harm's way. Hijinks then ensued with Mysterio and Liv Morgan ending up on top of each other on the outside until Rhea Ripley made her presence felt for the second straight time tonight, and Morgan scurried away through the crowd, and Dominik Mysterio returned to the ring, and Jey Uso put him away to secure the win to the dismay of the unhappy couple here. But it is both wild and refreshing to see two women involved at the heart of the most prominent storyline on Monday Night Raw. Like the story or not, it is damn refreshing to see Rhea and Liv Morgan's stars shining bright on the flagship show, and more importantly, at the grand stage that will be SummerSlam here. And of course, after this whole match was over with, Rhea Ripley, obviously was still out at ringside, and of course, Jey Uso, kind of had the motion of, "Hey, call me, baby," and then later he did a promo. He just said that he thinks that Rhea Ripley could do better than Dominik Mysterio. And in storyline, he's like, if she wants a shoulder to cry on, you can come to me. We'll take things slow. We'll go to the Waffle House, which is absolutely hilarious because obviously for those of you who follow the Bloodline storyline, everybody knows that the Usos love going to the Waffle House. Sami Zayn mentioned it in a great promo segment that about crack the Usos backstage in an old Bloodline segment. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out as well. So yeah, this was just funny stuff. Obviously, Rhea Ripley's married to Buddy Matthews in real life from AEW, but at the same time, this was very fun. And Rhea Ripley even kind of had like a little bit of a smile as she walked off, just kind of like, really. But anyway, so yeah, this is a fun segment, a good match all the way around. And again, further the storyline between these two ladies heading into the SummerSlam show. Having deduced that Bo Dallas is in fact Uncle Howdy, Chad Gable took to the ring and he tried to call out the third generation superstar here. Bo Dallas obliged and immediately fell prey to a sneak attack by the Creed brothers, who have now officially joined Chad Gable, and they put a 3-on-1 assault upon Bo Dallas. But Bo Dallas, even though it looked like he was, taken out here, he actually kind of was laughing and then crawled to the corner. And at one point, Bo Dallas even looked at Chad Gable and said, "There you are." As of course, that brought out the Wyatt Six to kind of make the save, as it were, even though it didn't look like Bo Dallas really needed saving. And of course, Bo Dallas, without the Uncle Howdy gimmick on, as the Wyatt Six came down to the ring, coming down through the aisleway there, Chad Gable, you could see, quickly ducked out of the ring, left the Creed brothers in the ring. So he's still kind of doing that thing that even though now the Creed brothers are helping Chad Gable officially now, Chad Gable still is the coward who will leave his cohorts high and dry if the situation calls for it. But of course, the Creed brothers also dipped out as well as the Wyatt Six officially entered the ring. And without the Uncle Howdy stuff on, like I said, but Bo Dallas kneeled down and laughs with the lamp, just like Bray Wyatt used to, and with the long beard and stuff, and being Bray Wyatt's real life brother, it's just insane, the resemblance of Bray Wyatt that Bo Dallas has here. So this is working on all levels, in my opinion. So yeah, this is just great, and I can't wait to see potentially a 6-man tag at SummerSlam. That would be great between Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, with the new Alpha Academy, if they end up dubbing it that, against the Wyatt Six, which I'm sure the Wyatt Six will get a big victory there, setting up them moving forward. And Chad Gable and the Creed brothers will have to work on their chemistry together and that whole storyline. So it's not going to bury Chad Gable or nothing. This is going to be great storytelling all the way around. So again, another big marquee matchup, mostly for SummerSlam, most likely. Can't wait to see it. The main event of Monday Night Raw saw Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn defending his title against Ilya Dragunov, and they were well on their way to having a potentially classic main event on Monday Night Raw when Braun Breaker kind of, caused the DQ here when he speared Ilya Dragunov as they were battling on the outside. The show went off the air with Braun Breaker standing tall over Sami Zayn, as Braun Breaker had claimed he would take both men out, and he did just that. In the process, he created a scenario where Sami Zayn may ultimately be forced into defending his Intercontinental Champion against both men at SummerSlam. And if that is the case, there are far worse ways to work all three of these guys onto the card. I wouldn't even be upset if they introduced Ludwig Kaiser to that. Now, I don't know exactly where he's been lately. He may have an injury. I'm not sure. But yeah, that match would be damn good if you had all three of these guys, Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, and Ilya Dragunov. Would be absolutely outstanding. Either way, if this is any indication of what we're going to be getting at SummerSlam, I think we're in a great spot here with the entire card top to bottom. So I'm absolutely looking forward to see what they do with that show. I thought Monday Night Raw was a pretty good show, especially building toward the big main event at SummerSlam for sure, with Damian Priest and Gunther, as well as the stuff that they're doing with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And of course, everything that they're doing in WWE right now, like I said, is top-notch professional wrestling. It's back to its heyday, as it were. So if you've not been checking out WWE programming due to some past resentment toward the Vince McMahon era and things like that. I totally understand, but it's time to jump back on board because WWE is even doing things that are absolutely outstanding, including during the summer months, not just leading up to WrestleMania during WrestleMania season at the beginning of every year. Now every single week seems important. Every pay-per-view show seems more important, and I think that's the best thing to do with pro wrestling. And I love to see that pro wrestling is officially thriving once again with AEW, WWE, and a lot of different companies throughout the world now. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think about WWE this week. Did you enjoy the shows? Are you guys excited for SummerSlam? Let me know all that good stuff down below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And until my next week's recap, everybody, take care and God bless.